Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Heartbroken and Housebroken podcast. I am your host, Spiro, all the way back from the motherland, Greece. It's been about a month since we dropped the podcast. I've missed you guys. And if you guys have missed me or just don't know where to find me, at Spiro and That Show on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, X, if we're still on that, YouTube, all that good stuff, Facebook. I don't know if I said Facebook already, but find me. Follow me. That way you guys can see where I'm performing. And if you guys are if you guys are listening to the podcast the day that it dropped, which is today, July 2nd, I will be at Buck's Tavern headlining. If you guys know anything about me, Buck's Tavern is one of my favorite places to work. It's a bar in East Vegas, and it's so kooky, but so fun. And I get to just rip 40 to 45 minutes of whatever the hell I want to do, and they enjoy it and I enjoy it, and it's where I really work out some of these rougher bits. So if you guys want to come see some of that magic happen, it's a free show, 8 p.m. tonight at Buck's Tavern, and then I will be featuring at the LA Comedy Club at the end of the month, all week long at the Strat. But club's amazing. Come out. It's Monday through Sunday, the 21st through the 27th. And then I'll be in Denver on Monday, the 28th at Comedy Works doing Thick Skin. Super excited to be back in Denver at Comedy Works for that show. If you guys want to follow me, again, that's all the information on the shows. But I'm a little kooky delirious from Greece. Spent a month in Greece, just about a month in Greece, it felt like. And you ever get tired from vacation? You ever get the last 2 or 3 days of vacation, you're just like, oh my God, I'm having so much fun. I don't want to go back to the real world, but I can't vacation anymore. It got to that point where I was just like, I need a vacation from my vacation. I'm so exhausted, but in a good way. Did so many things, saw amazing cities, saw Athens, saw Thessaloniki, saw Santorini, saw Skiathos, aka the Mamma Mia Island. It's how I know that my dad wanted me to go on this trip. We ended up on the island where they filmed Mamma Mia. And some of you guys are like, Spiro, I don't understand the direct correlation between... My dad loved Mamma Mia. My dad was like this somewhat... He tried to be like this macho, too cool for anything kind of guy. But then he would listen to stuff and watch stuff, and you're like, huh? He loved Shakira, the Pussycat Dolls, Mamma Mia. He loved that movie Enchanted. You remember that movie Enchanted? I don't get it. He was a weird individual, but he was my father. I wonder where I get my weirdness from. I got a kooky family. But it was cool. It was cool going, especially because, I talk a lot about losing my wife on this podcast, and the interesting part about it is I did lose my father shortly after, and the grieving has been different. It's been, obviously they were different people, but the grieving's been different, I've explained to it before where Sarah, it's this tragic thing that just hung over us for so long, and there was hope, and then there was no hope, and then there was hope, and then the worst case scenario happened, and now you're trying to build this young life around that. But then it kind of overshadowed the fact that my dad died shortly after. And his death was a little bit more sudden. We weren't expecting it, but it was the opposite. We had a really good time before he passed. We did a lot of awesome things. We traveled a bunch. And I think that kind of softened the grief. You know what I mean? It's it gave me whiskey dick of grief. What a term. You're drinking, everything's fun, you're having a good time, you're very involved with that, and then you try to use your dick, and then the whiskey dick comes in. That was kind of what the grief was. It's I was dealing with all the Sarah grief, dealing with it, and then I had no more grief energy for my father. And I'm not saying I didn't grieve him, because obviously I did. I would be insane if I didn't. But I don't think it hit me the same way. I think it hit me a little bit in Greece where it was I never knew much about him being, I knew he was Greek and I knew a little bit about, but I never understood the appeal of Greece. I never understood why I should learn Greek. And my dad never wanted me to speak Greek. He never tried to teach me how to speak Greek. But like, I have a very Greek name, Spiro. And the looks of disappointment when I went anywhere in Greece and they were like, oh, Spiro, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hi, I don't speak. And they're like, oh, you are such disappointment. Your mother must be so disappointed in you. It's like, well, my mom's not disappointed in me because I don't speak Greek. But thank you. There might be some other things, but not because I don't speak Greek. But it was one of those things where I really, that's where the grief came, where it was like, oh, like, I wish he was here with us. You know, I went with Liz and we met a bunch of friends over there for a wedding. And it was one of those where, like, especially in Thessaloniki, because it's all Greek there. Everything's in Greek. They speak Greek. They have signs over like Athens, Santorini, Skiathos. Very, you know, it's touristy. So they're used to USA coming in there and speaking the American, speaking the world language of the American of the United States. Be like, give me some Ouzo, Greek. And they're like, yes, we would love to give you some Ouzo. I drink so much Ouzo. Weed's illegal in Greece. They have CBD, but THC illegal in Greece. So I didn't do any edibles, didn't smoke at all for 30 days. I felt great, but since from 10 a.m. to like 2 a.m., all I did was drink Ouzo. They're like, hello, welcome to breakfast. Here is appetizer Ouzo for your eggs. I'm like, I don't want this. I mean, I'm on vacation, so I had it, but boy, like, and then Ouzo, like a giant bottle like this big is like, if you're listening on Spotify, it's like, you know, 750 milliliter bottle of Ouzo is like €5, which is essentially like $6 American. Oh my God. So easy to. And I asked somebody, I was like, why is THC illegal? But like Ouzo, it just like everybody's drunk on Ouzo all day. And it's like, because high is ugly high. And I'm like, maybe, but I've never tried to crawl under a car in a suit to pet a cat when I was high. When I had Ouzo, I tried several times. I'm like, come here, cat, I'm drunk. I want to hold you. And the cat's like, ooh, I'd rather be a stray under this car. And I'm like, no, you want it. Get over here, you fuzzy fuck. But it was fun being there. And like when we were in Thessaloniki, like I said, everything's in Greek. A lot of the signage is in Greek. A lot of the menus in Greek. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I wish I was here with my dad for a little bit. I wish he came with. He was planning a trip before he passed where he wanted to take us to Greece. And it was one of those where it's like, that's where the grief hit. Where I was like, I can't speak Greek and I don't know how to understand anything. I wish my dad was here. ChatGPT, will you be my dad? And it's like, hey, Spiro, I'm sorry you're going through that, but I'm sure would love to be your dad. I'm like, thanks, ChatGPT. Apparently, if you say thanks, ChatGPT, it costs, what, Microsoft, whoever runs ChatGPT, $20 million? Bro, that's insane. That's insane. I don't know if that's real, but somebody told me that. Somebody should fact check me. If you guys are fact checkers out there, get on and fact check me. Be like, Spiro is saying that the deficit's increasing because we say thank you to ChatGPT. I don't want to get into politics. Which was nice about vacation. The whole thing with Iran and Israel going on, I was in Greece. You ask people there, they're like, we're in Greece, nothing going to happen. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, and it does, drink more Ouzo. I'm like, okay. Drink more Ouzo, and then there's no geopolitical problems. Gotcha. And then I did drink Ouzo, and then there was a ceasefire announced. So maybe the Greeks are on to something. The more Ouzo you drink, the less war there is in the world. Israel and Iran and Trump definitely saw me drinking all this Ouzo on the trip, and they were like, yeah, you know what? This is exactly what we asked of our American people, to go to a vacation spot in Europe and drink a lot of Ouzo. And I'm proud to be an American, and I don't drink Coors Light. I drink Ouzo. Welcome back to the weirdest podcast on the planet. Sometimes we get dark, sometimes we really go off the edge. But it was one of those things where I was like, oh, like there is different types of grief. Like there is different types of missing. Because there's a while I would feel bad. I'm like, why am I not crying for my dad like I cried for Sarah? Why am I not insanely depressed like I was over Sarah's death? And again, I'm not saying that there is no sadness, no depression, no tears that came from my dad being gone, because there were. But like the ratio was definitely a little balanced to the other side. But then I get to Greece and I realize like grieving can just be like, oh, I don't get to experience this with somebody that wanted me to experience this. Or if I want to learn Greek, I have to learn on my own. I can't be like, hey, Dad, teach me some Greek. You know, some dads teach their children how to shave. Mine didn't. I learned on my own. Some parents teach their kids their native language. And that's a cool thing. And I guess I never realized that that was something that I would miss or even be upset about. And even like the food, like, you know, like I would eat food and be like, oh yeah, this is what he used to make. I remember eating this when he was around. So like it was like happy grief. Does that make sense? It was like, oh, like I'm experiencing all these wonderful things that remind me of my dad. And it's sad because I don't get to experience them with him anymore. But it's still amazing because it's like I'm experiencing this. Does that make sense? It sounds fucking weird. But grief is weird. Grief is like a weird little, you know, it's like a little amoeba transformer, you know? That's what grief is. Grief's a transformer. You think it's going to be a semi-truck, and then all of a sudden a fucking robot that flies comes out of it and saves the world. You think grief is going to be some rink-a-dink little bicycle, and boom, transforms into a dinosaur that breathes dragon and poops out chocolate nuggets that turn into gold when you poop them out. Greek, what is he talking about? But it's fun. It was fun. I had a really good time there. And if you guys ever have a chance to travel somewhere that's just incredible, or if you're dealing with a grief, you know, journey and you need... I've been against the word reset for a while, because when you like sit in your life and be like, I have to reset it, it almost feels like it's like starting over. And that's hard because you don't want to let go of what your life was and who you are, because you were shaped by your life. But reset's a good word for it after I came back from Greece, because it literally gives you a fresh perspective on everything. It gives you, again, for lack of a better word that I just said, a different perspective. You know, I was so devastated after Sarah. I was so devastated after my dad that I'm like, yeah, like going places isn't going to make me feel better. Seeing things aren't going to make me feel better. But then you go to Greece and you see the Acropolis, you see the Parthenon, and you realize it's been there for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it suffered wars and invasions and fires and earthquakes, and it's still structurally perfect until 1957 when the acid rain came. That's what I learned. I learned that the Acropolis withstood thousands of years of war, fire, and invasion And everyone's like, wow, this is marvelous. We need to preserve this. And then acid rain started in 1957, apparently. And then that's been the most damage to the Parthenon. Wild. It's always what you don't think. In case anybody, if Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is still a game, and that's the final question, I expect at least 10% for dropping that nugget on you. That little nugget. Speaking of nuggets, a lot of cats in Greece. I know I said on my last podcast, but there were so many cats. They were so fucking cute. They had little Greek accents. They're like, meow. But going somewhere beautiful and going somewhere so just incredibly historic, where you've seen the trials, the downfalls, the come-ups, the rebuilds. For lack of being cheesy, it's very metaphorical to what you go through when you're grieving. You know, there's some dark ages, and there's nights where you don't think you're going to survive through, and these battles that you have to go through internally, externally. You have to burn your life to the ground. You have to cut people off that don't fit in your life anymore. You have to find a new purpose because your purpose has changed. But then that's what builds the legend of who you are. That's what builds the legend of who you are. And I'm not going to be around for thousands of years like the Parthenon. Maybe ChatGPT will figure out a way to make me live forever. Maybe I'll start an NBA career in my late 30s and become an amazing Hall of Famer and get a statue. And then my statue will be there forever, just like the Parthenon. But realistically, I'm going to be gone one day. But while I'm here, it's nice to know that I can look back on where I was and where I am and where I'm going, and I can really see the progress that I've made and that I've been able to rebuild, and that grief didn't tear me down. There were some dark nights. There were some nights where I wasn't sure if I was going to get through. There were some nights where just losing two huge foundations to my life, being gone so quickly and right after COVID, when, you know, all that chaos was fucking going on. You look back on it and you're like, wow, I did what I had to do to survive. And now look at me. Now look where I am. I'm sitting on Skiathos, listening to the Mamma Mia soundtrack, drinking Ouzo while the sun goes down. And then the next day you wake up and it's beautiful again. Again, I always like to end with just, if you guys are going through anything, I know there's different types of grief, whether it's divorce, whether it's losing somebody, whether it's maybe transitioning between jobs or getting a new pet or anything. Like, look back over the last couple of years when you get to a good spot, and you'll realize that all the bullshit, all the tough times were worth it. Because now you're like the Parthenon. Only acid rain will destroy you. Acid rain, acid rain. It was interesting, though, because we went to a wedding, and I'll end my podcast on this. It was interesting because no matter what you do, it's hard to bring up that you're a widow. And I've talked about this a lot. But I went to a wedding where most of the people were on their second marriages or in a relationship out of a marriage, and everyone's talking about their ex and fuck that guy and fuck that lady, she's crazy, and like all these things. And they get to me and they're like, what about you? And I'm like, I'm a widow. And then immediately everyone goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, I don't even know what a proper term is for it. And, you know, it's not like I'm trying to just bring it up to down the mood. It's like, what am I supposed, when people are like, fuck that bitch, fuck that dude, am I supposed to be like, yeah, fuck my ex? Like, what did she do? She left me for the GOD. Yeah, she's cheating on me with Jesus Christ right now. Are there fun ways to say that you're a widow without making it awkward? Yeah, she is a VIP card member holder of Spirit Airlines. She's always up there, just flying around Spirit Airlines. Oh, I mean, what do you say? What do you say? She really likes soft beds, so she had to leave. My bed was too firm. She's sleeping on a cloud now. What euphemisms can I use? Help me. Help me tell people. Be like, oh yeah, what happened with your ex? It's like, oh, she vanished. She's not a magician's assistant. She just no longer seeks to exist. That almost seems worse. Those seem like worse terms. What other terms can you use for somebody that's not alive? Be like, yeah, I lost my wife in Bed Bath and the Great Beyond. I can only see her on Only Earns now. Dead Bath Body Works? I don't know. Does that work? Probably not. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. If you guys have other names or other ways that you could say widow, I want to hear it. I don't think let's look at thesaurus.com. Let's see. Let's pull up a thesaurus and see what other words for widow. Alrighty. This is going to get weird. Widow synonyms. Okay, similar words. Let's hear it. Okay. Wives. Oh, soulmates. Literal soulmates. Stay-at-homes. Yeah, my wife's a stay-at-home wife. Oh, she works from home? I'm like, no, she's in an urn. I thought bringing her would be a little bit more uncomfortable. Have you ever seen someone dance with an urn on a wedding floor? That's when people are like, you grieve a little too hard. You're grieving a little too much. It's like, I haven't brought her ashes to a wedding floor to dance. I haven't brought them to a sad movie to have a cry. That's funny. Stay-at-homes. I got a stay-at-home wife. Just staying at home in that urn, lazy-ass bitch. Alrighty, what is another word for widow? Let's see. I love this. A do-wager. A do-wager? A do-wager. Surviving wife. Surviving spouse. Survivor spouse. I mean, it's weird. Like, can you imagine me on any dating reality show? Like, if I were single and I was on a dating show, none of these shows would have me. Because what's one of the big twists that they have? They're like, we're bringing back everyone's ex. How terrifying would that be? They're like, hey, your ex is coming. And then she emerges from the beach in her urn, and it's just water dripping down the urn. She'd be like, hi, I'm Sarah. I was 34 years old, and now I'm dead. I left my man because I was feeling a little dusty. He always just wanted to keep me in a little pot. I don't know. This got dark. Some of you guys are like, we should have tuned out 5 minutes ago. This got weird. Funeral goer. Yes, I was a funeral goer. Supermom. Supermom. Okay, well, it's getting a little inspirational. Widow's mite. Got the widow's mite. I'm so strong I can lift cars off of people because I'll just remember my dead wife and I'll be like, get off of there. Anyway, guys, this has been a fun podcast back. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. My Spotify and YouTube listeners, you guys are my day ones. I appreciate y'all. If you guys haven't followed me already, Spiro in that show, all social media platforms. I'll get better with my talking. Get all this ouzo out my mouth. Again, podcasts are going to be starting up every Wednesday. now that I'm back. And if you guys want to follow me on a show, come to a show, just DM me. I'll get you guys some tickets. But until then, this has been Spiro, and this has been the Heartbroken and Housebroken podcast. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care.